Hello, my mindful meal preppers. Welcome to the last meal of this month, which is crazy. I feel like it's been a blink in time. This 3-4-5 challenge has been so eye-opening and challenging at times for me, and enlightening and exciting and inspiring to me. And I hope that it has been for you too. But I can't believe how fast time is flying by. I can't believe that it's already over. And I hope that you're feeling the same, that time flies when we're having fun and that you are having fun. But if not, I would love to hear your recommendations for what would make this more fun for you. I would love recommendations on meals that you would like me to try to make next on a budget. I would love to hear different topics that you would like to have me cover in the future in the realm of life skills, stress, conflict, communication, relationships, anger and emotions, maybe more things personal finance, because we haven't even begun to discuss things like money psychology, major purchases like car buying or home buying, planning for retirement, which I know is like a really foreign, perhaps even impossible dream right now, but it is achievable, and we will certainly talk about it and we will get there. Now, let's talk about what next month is going to look like, because that's also very important. I am going to reset. And what that means is I am going to act as if my pantry has been emptied by some pantry banshee overnight, and I once again need to buy things like salt for the first time. And I'm going to restart my 3-4-5 challenge as if it were day one. And the reason why I'm doing that is, if I want to make this a sustainable thing for YouTube, I can't just assume that every new viewer is going to click on the very first video, see, oh, I need to actually start back at the beginning, and then take themselves all the way back to the beginning, depending on how far back that is in the future. My hope, though, is that they'll at least be willing to go back to the beginning of the month. And so in doing that, I will be hitting reset at the beginning of every month. Now, what does that mean for you? Well, for you, you're not resetting your pantry. And I hope that you've seen how we recycle ingredients week over week, that you've started to build those practices into your daily schedule, into your daily routine as is. But if not, I have a mental log of what ingredients you have already purchased and you should have at least a little bit more of. I will keep a mental log of what is in your pantry, and I will still make an active, concerted effort to incorporate those into ingredients that are being bought as if they're for the first time for new viewers. Last but not least, let's talk about the veggie scrap bag. I want to do something with you with this. And I have ideas for what a 1 to 2 hour video would look like, whatever it happens to be. But let me know if that's something you all would be interested in. Regardless, we'll get into it now, I promise. Tie back your hair if you have to, put on an apron if you've got one, and we're gonna get cooking good looking. It's the last meal for this month of Life's Table. Yay! Okay, we are making fried rice. Specifically, we're making pork fried rice. You don't need to make pork with this. If you don't have pork, if you used all of it for yesterday's meal, totally fine. I would assume, though, that there's like 1 or 2 slices of pork left, which makes this perfect. Because it is fried rice, it comes together quite quickly. So we're going to do a lot of prep work in the beginning, and then it's going to kind of be like throw it in the pan, zhuzh it around, take it out of the pan, throw the next things in the pan, zhuzh them around, add in the rice, add it back in, you're done. That said, I don't want to risk burning anything trying to keep up with the steps, so I will be doing all of the prep work ahead. Let's grab our cutting board. Well, that was almost bad. And we'll grab our knives. I've got my last little, about half of an onion. We bring out the veggie scrap bag. I'm so excited to make such delicious veggie stock with you all. I'm hoping that this will convert you to start continue doing this. All right. I'm assuming you have had fried rice before, so you know we're going for teeny tiny little baby pieces. Onion's gonna get cut probably into, we'll say 8, maybe 7. And we'll continue on with our month in review right where we left off, which was goal setting and making sure our personal finance goals go towards the appropriate accounts that will best help us achieve them. Like I said, money has a task and a purpose. Saving for the sake of saving, investing for the sake of investing is fine, but it's not as beneficial and it's not as productive as it would be if you said things like, okay, I know that in the next 5 years, I want to have saved or invested enough to afford a down payment on a car, on a house, on a wedding, what have you. We're going to get 2 cloves of garlic here. And then we did kind of segue from there into investing or savings. I'm not going to go through, like I did in previous videos, the specific differences between certificates of deposit, money market accounts, high yield savings accounts, bonds, stocks, foreign investments, small cap or large cap funds, mutual funds, crypto. I'm not going into the differences between the two. You can go back to the video to see that. But what I will say is every single one of them comes with a sacrifice to those 3 key features of accounts that we look for. I'm going to throw this away really quick. And I'm going to grab just a little baby bowl here. I'm going to mince my garlic into the baby bowl and add 1 to 2 cloves of garlic, and then we will add about 1 teaspoon of ginger. All right. The 3 characteristics of accounts that we all look for: security and safety. Is it insured? If you wake up tomorrow, is there a potential that it's all going to be gone or not? We care about accessibility. So when you say things like, it's my money and I need it now, are you actually able to access all of that money right now? Or is there a maturity date on it that you need to wait for it in order to actually get the benefits that you're seeking? And then last but not least, we've got growth. Some accounts do not grow very quickly. Some accounts don't even keep up with inflation. We talked about those accounts. There is no such thing as a safe, high growth, easily accessible account. It doesn't exist. You have to sacrifice one. And based on your goals, that will then determine what you are willing to sacrifice or not. We'll go in with our ginger now. Like I said, you want 1 teaspoon. So based on your goals then, that's how you determine which accounts you should be choosing. Wow, it smells so good. We'll put this back in the fridge. I'm going to be using the rest of my frozen veggies. So I'm just going to throw my onion into the frozen veggies because they're all going to get put in together at the same time. We'll try. It's part of the fun of being in a kitchen. Sometimes you make a mess. So after determining what you're willing to sacrifice and determining then what account is going to best suit your needs based off of the goals that you have, we now look at investing options as a whole. And just a reminder, There is no predicting what the market's going to do. There is no telling what is going to happen with interest rates, with inflation, with someone making one post on X or Truth Social or whatever and tanking the market. There's so much about the world of investing that we have no control over, but we can control 3 things. And it is so important that you exercise that power, that right that you have, that little bit of control that you have. It is so important that you do your research and maintain that control, exercise it, use it wisely. And just to remind you all what those 3 things are that you can control. You can control the accounts that you are investing into. Is it an IRA? Is it an HSA? Is it your standard brokerage account? You decide what you are investing in. First thing. The second thing that you decide is how often and how much you are investing. And the third thing that you control and you decide is how much you pay to play. Different investment firms will charge different rates in different ways for you to go and invest through them. Go onto websites like Bankrate, like NerdWallet, like Investopedia, like do your research, see what is out there, what is available, who is charging what, and exercise your control, your power, the little that you have to invest wisely. I'm now going to make the sauce that's going to beautifully make this up. It is combining tahini, soy sauce, sesame oil, and because I'm feeling a little lazy today, you can whisk it together in a bowl, but I'm gonna go ahead and blend. So you're gonna take 2 tablespoons of tahini. I am just about out. Wow. Give it a nice little mix in case it's started to separate. Wow. We're done with our tahini, y'all. At least I am. Feels good. All right. I hope that you liked tahini. For those of you who have never tried it before, I know that it can be a really strong flavor, kind of like peanut butter or ginger or garlic or onion. So I do hope that you liked the flavor of it. We got our tahini in there. 3 tablespoons of soy sauce for you. Pouring that in. And then you all can do 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. I just finished off so much of this tahini and added extra of it. I'm gonna do barely a splash just to add a little liquid to it. It's already going to have a very heavy sesame flavor. I don't know that I need too much more than that, especially because we're gonna be using olive oil or avocado oil. And we'll go ahead and we'll give this a mix. We'll go ahead and we'll grab our pork now. Okay. And again, you've had fried rice before, you've seen fried rice before, so you know about the size of these little teeny tiny pieces that we're going to be getting into. I will be using a whole like 1.5 pounds of it, but you're welcome to just use whatever's left. It will come together very, very nicely, no matter what. Again, you can make this as a vegetarian option. I just have the pork, so I might as well use it. Going back to investing, we just finished discussing the world of things that you can't control, but the 3 things that you can. The next, and really the only other critical rule that I need you to remember is the name of the game is diversify. If you keep all of your eggs in one basket, you invest all of your money in one singular company, I mean, I wish you all the best of luck, but that's incredibly risky. Even the most aggressive risk takers when it comes to the market are investing in more than just one company, more than just one type of investment. I'm going to leave the fat on here just like we did yesterday. I want to keep it to render it down and have it add some delicious flavor to it. But we're looking at teeny tiny little baby pieces of pork, right? Something about the size of like a pinky. So the name of the game is diversify. Do not have all your eggs in one basket. Don't even just exclusively invest in like one country. There's a whole world of investing and investment options out there. In the same way that you are researching the type of account that you should be investing in, we should be researching the companies that we are investing our money in as well. And to that end, to that measure, if you are new to investing and you have no idea where to begin, but you're hearing people everywhere saying like, you should invest, you should do it, you should blah, blah, blah. One of the safer ways, I'm not going to say safest because there's still a risk that you will wake up and that money could be gone. There is no such thing as a high growth, ultra secure, easily accessible account. But in terms of mitigating the amount of risk that you're taking, a good way to go with doing that is what we call the index funds or the mutual funds, which we talked about in a previous video. So go back and review what those are. But do remember that those are a great way to force diversity. Another thing that you can do, which I don't think I went over in the previous video, is use tools like Morningstar's portfolio. I don't even know what it's called anymore, but Morningstar has a tool where basically you go in and you put in your portfolio, what you are planning on investing in, what you are currently investing in, and it will then spit out a percentage of this amount of your stock portfolio is invested in the medical sector or the biotech sector. This percentage of your portfolio is invested in clean energy companies. This percentage of your portfolio is invested in Fortune 500 companies. And this is another really good way to assess, is my account diversified enough? Because if you are investing in what feels like a bunch of different companies, but they're all in the same industry, well then as soon as that industry takes a hit, which we've seen recently, your portfolio as a whole is going to tank. You're going to have a really bad day. So use the tools that you have at your disposal. I'll warn you that much of Morningstar is free to your everyday average consumer, but there are some things that will cost a very hefty penny to participate in and take part in. So be aware of what you are signing up for when you make a free account versus a subscription account versus like an investor level account, which you all definitely don't need. I don't want to say definitely. I don't want to make decisions for you, but investor level access to websites like Morningstar used to cost people like $19,000 per year. So if you don't have that kind of money, don't do it. And then the last major thing that we talked about with regards to investing was the success that major companies saw and what they did to see that success and find it. And we talked about how investing is a little bit like fishing or hunting, where we're all happy to sing from the rooftops about the major success that we had today, or perhaps even the very bad days that we had of just nothing. But in the same way that your fisherman gets that big break and gets that lucky catch just by being there so often and being dedicated through the good days and through the bad, it is the same thing with investing. You can talk about trying to find Steve Jobs when he's still just working out of his garage. You can talk about all you want, trying to predict the next recession or the next bear market or bull market. In the same way that your hunter or your fisherman finds their success by just being there, it's the same thing with the stock market. We're just about done cutting up the last little bit of pork, which means that we're just about ready to get started. So we'll finish off now then with what we talked about most recently, which is credit and debt. We'll wash our hands. We'll get out our pans. I think I've got enough here that I'm gonna need a full-fledged pot for this. We'll go ahead and we'll get started. Let me wash my hands really quick. All right. Let's grab our pot or pan, depending on the size of everything. Let us begin by setting our stovetops to medium. I'm going to do medium low just because my stovetop is very temperamental, but we'll start off with medium. And while this heats up, we're going to do some funky things with our rice. I personally am okay with scrambled eggs. Scrambled eggs are they're fine. But when it comes to my fried rice, I like what is called golden rice, which typically requires turmeric. And we didn't buy that this week, but we'll buy it in future weeks so that we can do this again in the future. But instead of cracking the eggs directly into the pot and scrambling them and having scrambled eggs in with your fried rice, what I like to do is crack my eggs directly into my rice and massage and mix it in all together. 1, 2, 3 should be enough. And we break up our yolks and we just massage it all together so that it gets this nice golden creamy texture. If you notice, the rice is beginning to change into this nice golden color. Now I'm gonna just whoop. So, credit is trust. If you go up to a random stranger and you say, hey, pretty please, can I borrow $10,000 and promise I'll be good for it? The likelihood of that random stranger saying yes is, I'm gonna go with 0. Banks are willing to take that risk because they're insured. Wash your hands. And we'll just use this to test. Yeah, we'll go ahead and say that that's good enough. We're gonna drop in a couple of tablespoons of oil, actually 2, just enough to barely coat the bottom of the pan. And the meat's gonna go in very soon thereafter. All right. I'm gonna add salt. I'm not going to add pepper, but you could add pepper here if you wanted to. It is cooking down beautifully. Credit is trust. Banks are willing to lend to you and take those risks. Random strangers are not. The reason why banks are willing to take those risks is because they are what they call calculated risks. There are ways that they measure your trustworthiness, your lendability. This is already going and cooking well in this, so we're going to add in now the garlic ginger combo. They look for 3 things when lending and assessing that trustworthiness, that creditworthiness. The first one is character. They look at your credit report. They see things like, have you been good at paying back money when you say, pretty please, can I borrow it? Have you missed any payments? That's the first big thing that they care about. The utilization. If I lend you $10,000 and I'm tracking your expenses, are you using a full $10,000 or are you being responsible with it and only using 3? They look at how long you have been in this game. How old is your credit age? They look at recent inquiries. Who else has been looking into you? And perhaps have they denied you? And if so, why? And then last but not least, they look at the different types of credit. Do you have 16 credit cards, or do you have a credit card, some student loans, a car loan, a mortgage? Diversification, the same way that it works with investments, it works with lending as well. This is just about done. I'll give it 1 more minute, but then we're going to pull it. So they look at your character through your credit report, and your credit score is linked to your credit report, which is why having a high score is good, because it means that what's on the credit report looks good. They look at capacity. When you say, pretty please, can I borrow $10,000? Can you pay it back? Do you have a steady paycheck? Do you have a steady income? Or is something else going on that we need to be concerned about? All right, this is just about done, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab a bowl. All right. So we take out the pork, but we leave in the delicious juices because that's going to then flavor and season our veggies beautifully. They look at capacity. Do you have the ability to pay things back? And then they look at collateral. That's the third thing that they look at. What happens if you decide to stop paying? What happens if you are no longer credit worthy? If you're no longer good on it? Can they repossess your car? Can they foreclose on your house? Or is this a credit card where it's just like, well, you better pay it back? And there are, by the way, there are serious consequences for not paying your credit card bill. But in terms of the bank coming to cut up your credit cards, it doesn't really work that way. Which means that credit cards typically have higher interest rates. All right, we are just about done. Now, we pour in our veg. Saute as well. Just a couple minutes. So they look at character, they look at capacity, they look at collateral. In order to see what they are seeing, in order to assess your own creditworthiness, do yourself a favor and pull your credit report. A good credit score is great, but it's not a guarantee of good credit. And here's what I mean by that. A good credit score goes up, it goes down, it fluctuates, but it doesn't tell you why it's changing. It doesn't tell you why it is fluctuating. So who's to say that it's you impacting your credit score and not somebody else acting on your behalf? Now, why would someone like trying to commit identity theft want to make you look good? Well, let's go ahead and put this in the shoes of hypothetical. I try to take your identity, mindful meal prepper. I could go at it right now. Let's say that you've got credits okay. Your credit limit is about $5,000. I could say, perfect, that's fine, that's good enough for me. Or I could invest a couple months into you to raise your credit score, which in turn makes it easier for the bank to want to lend to you and to increase your credit limit so that $5,000 can very quickly and easily become $10,000, $15,000. And that's when I'm going to strike. You looking at your credit score go up and patting yourself on the back is fine if you know why it's going up. But if you don't know why it's going up, don't give yourself a pat on the back because it could be me acting with negative intentions. Make sure that you are also checking your credit report, so that when you go on and you perhaps see things like a random account opened up in your name in a state that you've never been to at a bank you don't recognize, you can say, oh, that's significant, that's bad. I need to do something about that. We're not quite translucent yet, but we're getting pretty close. So check your credit report. The way that you do that is you go onto the website annualcreditreport.com. That is where you can access all three of your credit reports from all three of the credit agencies, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and you can see what they are reporting. You can see what they are seeing. You can see what lenders are seeing as well. Now, let's talk finally about ways to build credit, assuming that you're new to the credit game. Perhaps you are a total stranger even to the bank, and the bank says, ooh, sorry, I don't know that I'm willing to just outright lend you money yet. Okay, that's fine. You can go about this a number of ways, but two of the ways that we discussed were becoming an authorized user on somebody else's account with their permission, with their approval, and that way their good credit gets transferred to you and you can practice building credit responsibly through them and their account. What that means though is that if you have a bad day, they are going to have a bad day and vice versa. So there is risk. Expect risk to be there. You need to trust both ways this sort of relationship. All right, now our onions are getting there. So we go in with our rice. I'm also going to pour in the sauce. All right. The next way is opening what is called a secured credit card, where you are investing and lending to yourself. You deposit a set amount of money into the account every month. That then becomes your quote unquote credit limit. And so then you make purchases as the month goes on, but it does work very much like a credit card where the bank is tracking your purchases, and many of them will just automatically transfer to becoming your standard credit card account after a certain period of time that you and the bank discuss. And last but not least, we finish off with I'm in over my head with debt. We're at the other end of the spectrum. I'm not new to credit. I am unfortunately being burned by it. Wow, this smells so good. Give this a good stir together. I'll get the pork back in here as well. So, it's now time to talk about debt management and paying down those bills and paying down that debt. You are probably already working towards that by just making your minimum monthly payments. Hopefully you aren't missing any payments because we already talked about why that's not a good thing. So you do your budget and you see, okay, I can free up an extra $100 per month by dining out less, by not taking that vacation that I was really hoping to take, but we need to prioritize other things like our needs and our day-to-day life first and foremost. Whatever it is, wherever you find that money, you could evenly distribute it and throw $20 to each of the loans that you have, or you could go about it using either the avalanche or the snowball methods. Avalanche, you prioritize paying off the highest interest loans first. Snowball, you prioritize paying off the lowest balances first. And with that, this concludes our first month of Life's Table. This is crazy. I hope that you all learned something. I hope that you've taken a few recipes that you really like and will regularly and routinely incorporate them into your cooking routine. I hope to see you next week. I hope that you do continue this with me. But regardless, thank you for taking care of you, not only today, but this whole month. I do hope that you come back. Bon appetit. All right, y'all. It is the last meal of this month, and I hope that it's a really good one. We finish strong. I'm not gonna lie. I was really worried about it being too salty, but this is like the perfect flavor ratio. I'm really, really satisfied with this. Wow. Oh my gosh, we made really good fried rice, guys. Wow. All right. Thank you for this month. Thank you for taking care of you. I hope to see you next week. Bon appetit.